Hello everyone, this is part 15 of What If Naruto Awakened New Skills, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Naruto, Hinata, Hashi, Gaara, Kankuro, Temari, Sasuke, Utsuri, Taihei and Wahei had gone to the Hyuga compound, and now Hinata stood in one of the external sparring grounds 6 feet from Hanabi, waiting for Hashi to signal the match to begin. Around 10 feet behind Hanabi sat the Hyuga council, eager to see what each of the two young girls that could be the heir to the clan could do. Most expected Hanabi to win, but a few had noticed the air of confidence radiating from the elder girl and suspected that she was likely to win, and about the same distance behind Hinata sat everyone except Naruto. He stood between the girls opposite Hashi with a clone on each third along the ring and one on each corner to assist in judging the match. There are 3 rules to this match: no biting, no scratching and no K, said Hashi, looking first at Hinata and then at Hanabi. Seeing both girls ready, begin, he said, and then he and Naruto quickly jumped back. Hanabi made the first move, rushing forwards with her left arm in front, palm facing Hinata, and her right arm pulled back so that her right hand, in the same position as her left, was level with her abdomen. When she got in striking range, she pulled her left arm back in the same time as pushing her right arm forwards. Hinata easily pushed her arm aside and struck the now stumbling Hanabi's right shoulder, closing her chakra point and rendering her arm useless. Hanabi then fought to open her closed chakra point, and Hinata took the opportunity she had created, swiftly crouching down and hitting the point on the top of Hanabi's left thigh with her left hand, then spinning on the ball of her right foot and delivering a blow to the same point on the top of Hanabi's right thigh. The effect was instant as Hanabi tumbled to the ground with both legs and her right arm out of commission. She shifted her attention to her left leg to try and continue the fight, but with her attention diverted again, Hinata deftly spun behind her, remaining in a crouched position. She put her right arm over Hanabi's shoulder, under her chin, and then looped it round so that her finger was positioned at Hanabi's temple, and at the same time moved her left arm round the side of her younger sister and positioned her hand with 2 fingers aimed at her heart. The match is over, the winner is Hinata, said Hashi as Naruto dispersed his clones. Hashi then turned his attention to the council. I trust this proves that Hinata is in fact considerably more skilled than Hanabi, and your decision from viewing this match will reflect that, he said. One of the council members stood up to speak. He looked about the same age as Hashi, although about 5 inches shorter, his light brown hair to shoulder length and framing his face. Well, I for one was impressed by the display, but those skills did not look to be of the Juken style, am I correct? He asked. You are. I learned a number of other styles to enhance our own Juken, as I've learned it is too easily defeated when an opponent is faster than the user. So I took my natural strength, my flexibility, and incorporated a style that complemented it. I also learned a style better suited for power and increased my speed and strength to allow the style to be of use when fighting someone of greater speed but lower flexibility and strength, allowing me to react better to changing situations and combat different opponents, explained Hinata. The council member looked thoughtful for a moment. Would you mind having a spar with me? I'd like to see just how much potential your new skills have, asked the council member. If you would like, I'd be happy to do so now, replied Hinata. Naruto quickly made his shadow clones again and sent them to the same parts of the ring, as well as one more to move Hanabi out of the way and reopen her chakra points. The council member moved into the ring and Hinata resumed her starting place. Hashi stepped in between them. The rules are the same as before: on biting, no scratching and no K, ready. He looked between the two and received a nod from each. Began, and again he and Naruto moved back. Both stood there for a few moments, then 2 clones appeared on each side of Hinata and rushed at her opponent. At first he thought they were mere academy illusions, as all Hyuga learned them to pass the exam. In fact, the 3 academy jutsu were the only jutsu that any Hyuga knew, so when the clone landed a solid punch, he thought it was the real Hinata who'd learned a trick or two from Naruto, unpredictable as he was. When the next one hit as well, he quickly realized that he was fighting shadow clones. As the next one came in, he quickly dispatched it, falling right into Hinata's trap. Exactly the same way Naruto had done it against Tsunade in his genjutsu, Hinata's 4th clone came straight through the smoke the dispersed clone created and landed 2 accurate strikes to each of his shoulders. It couldn't strike the vital spots that would have rendered the arms useless, but it did slow them down. As he took out the fourth clone, the remaining two came in from the back and kicked him in the back of the knees, knocking him down, and with the time they'd had to aim, the strikes both had been aimed at chakra points, taking out his legs from the knees down, but he managed to react quickly enough to take out one of the clones. As he fell, he was caught by the original with a hand on his C over his heart, and the last clone hit the two chakra points on his shoulders, closing them and rendering his arms completely useless. He smiled up at the young girl in front of him. I am highly impressed. You have just proven what many of us have believed for quite a while. The Juken style has a good number of weaknesses not related to the Byakugan after all. How else could someone several decades my junior defeat me so easily if that were not the case? He said before looking over his shoulder to the rest of the council members and receiving nods from them all. He continued, Hinata Hyuga, first daughter of clan head Hashi Hyuga, the council's decision is that you will remain the heiress to the clan until such time as you choose to relinquish it. Become clan head, or, which we all pray will not be the case, before such time as you take your place as head of the clan. Now if you would be so kind as to open my chakra points, he said. Hinata grinned sheepishly, and she and her clone swiftly reopened the chakra points and moved away from him. He stood up and rejoined the elders, and they spoke quietly before he once again turned to Hashi. Am I correct in understanding that Hanabi has not been betrothed yet? He asked. Hashi nodded. Very well then, the council has made a decision. Until such time as she proves her arrogance is no more, the Hyuga Council will consider the arrangement of her marriage and to whom she will marry. Do you consent to this? He asked. Again Hashi nodded. We have also decided that the announcement for the new purpose of the caged bird seal will be made tomorrow afternoon, and we will send out the appropriate information today. He finished. Again Hashi nodded and then turned to the group that had been watching. Thank you all for coming, and I hope to see you all again sooner rather than later, he said, and then walked away, headed back into the house. Naruto then turned to the group and put a plan into motion that he'd formed, and with the help of everyone except the two parties that it involved, he hoped it would go off without a hitch. However, he was about to mix it up a lot. So what's everyone doing tonight? Getting answers of nothing from everyone, he asked the next question. So who fancies going out to a bar? This got odd looks from all. Naruto, you know we can't drink yet. You've got to be 18 feet, said Sasuke. Naruto just smiled. There's a little known by law that states any ninja that has made their first cake and drink. Only one bar in Konoha knows of this, and it has a direct line to all the files in the Hokage Tower. It only gets one piece of information from them though. Number of K. Any ninja that join the village from being unaffiliated or missing automatically get 1K. Gaara, Kankuro and Temari's files were transferred from sooner after the Chunin exams, which leaves Hinata and Sasuke without K. However, I also know that they've witnessed a good number of K, and each Jonin is allowed to bring one Chunin level ninja that has no K in with them, and since both me and Gaara are Jonin, that means we can take in 2 people without K, he explained. Naruto, how many K do you actually have? Asked Gaara. I have 115 confirmed ninja K and 574 confirmed non-ninja J, but I'm still waiting for the rest of the scrolls one brought back from Wave to be processed to get the final total, replied Naruto. The same reaction graced every face except Hinata's. Even Gaara's eyes had widened in shock. The rest had white eyes as wide as pint glasses, and their jaws were about 3 feet below the ground. Okay, so we'll meet outside here at 6 tonight. Utsuri, Taihei, Wahei, come on, I'll show you to the Namikaze compound and then show you the shopping district so you can pick up some fresh clothes, said Naruto as they all headed out of the Hyuga compound. Sasuke had offered Gaara, Kankuro and Temari to stay with him at the Uchiha compound for as long as they liked, so they departed for there, and Naruto, Hinata, Utsuri, Taihei and Wahei headed for the Namikaze compound. Deep within the alleyways of Konoha, there lies a bar. It's not very well known, but some people know where it is. Having been around since the first Hokage's time, it's a selective bar, allowing in only certain people. There, people could blow off steam and complain about things. They can drink until dawn, or they can eat some food. It's a social place. Parties are often held there, and the bar is held in high esteem for its famous way of serving. Whenever someone orders something, his or her order is connected to a spinning rack. The rack spins and then the chefs there make the order. And then, with amazing precision and accuracy, one of the chefs launches the food out from a hole in the wall. The food is then caught by the bartender and served to the customers. This is the place that the group have just arrived at. It's now 7:30 p.m. and the Nindo Bar is the name of the place. As its name suggests, the Nindo Bar does things the ninja way, and sometimes the Nindo Bar will have great parties, lasting until tomorrow morning. That was another thing that made the bar famous. When there is a party at the Nindo Bar, they party hard. When there's a party at the Nindo Bar, that's when the owner takes out the good sake, fermented just long enough, and the good food and labels each of it at half the original price. And they still manage to make a profit. Tonight the bar was in one of its quieter nights. The group entered to find Kakashi and Guy at one end of the bar. Kakashi trying to drink enough that he wouldn't be able to hear Guy, while Guy droned on about how his drinking would affect his flames of youth. At the other end of the bar sat Kurenai and Anko, Kurenai still slowly drinking her first glass, and Anko had apparently just finished her 6th bottle and was ordering another. Throwing your sake cup or bottle at the wall was also another tradition. During the night, everyone had a limit, though most won't admit to it. So, in order for other people to know when someone ought to stop drinking, the person would throw their sake cup or bottle at a target drawn on the wall. If they hit it, they can still drink. If not, the bartender put a stamp that read, "drunk," onto the person's hand. Then, if the person who was drunk asked for another drink, the bartender would know to not serve them. This method had been around since the times of the first Hokage, just like the bar. The bartender knew Anko well enough to know that she wasn't even bothered by the alcohol till her 15th bottle. How that was the case he didn't even want to guess. The group went to a table in the corner of the room with a single padded seat in a U shape and sat down. They each looked over the menus of what was on offer, and after around 5 minutes everyone was ready to order. Naruto had planned ahead, and when he walked up to the bar to place the first order, he gave the bartender a number he had gotten earlier that day to open a tab that they would take the final total of the next morning and take it directly from his account. After ordering, he pointed out the table they were sitting at so the bartender would know all of those that would order and need to be put on the tab. Naruto also decided to order a large sake for Kakashi, and the barman took it over to him. Kakashi looked at the barman with surprise on what was visible of his face. "I didn't order this," he said, his voice hinting that he wasn't meaning to offend. The barman smiled. "The boy down there said to give you this and tell you that had 3 more drinks he's paying for," the barman said, pointing to Naruto. Kakashi looked over to him, and Naruto was standing with his elbows resting on the bar, his chin resting on the palm of his left hand, and he raised his right arm and flicked his wrist sideways with his hand open, facing Kakashi. He was wearing a black shirt with long sleeves and a pocket on each B. Kakashi then turned to Guy. "I'll be back in a moment, Guy. I'm just going to see why he's here," he said, and with that he walked down to Naruto. As he rounded the corner of the bar, he saw that Naruto was wearing a pair of black jeans with carefully concealed pockets on the thighs, most likely holding scrolls. "What can I do you for, Kakashi-sensei?" asked Naruto with a smile on his face. "You outrank me now, Naruto. There's no need for the sensei. I'm just wondering if there's any particular reason you're here tonight," replied Kakashi. "You should never forget those that taught you. After all, you're never too old to learn something new. I'm here with my fiancé, my cousins, and some friends for a good night out," replied Naruto, still smiling and nodding his head in the direction of the group. Kakashi looked over to see Hinata sitting on the far side of the table by the wall next to the empty seat for Naruto. She was wearing her red t-shirt with the skull and the crossed kunai. Next to her on her left was Utsuri. She wore a black sleeveless tank top with the Uzumaki swirl in white on the front. Then to her left was Sasuke in a white short-sleeved shirt with a pocket on the left B, and the Uchiha fan on the right. He was sitting very close to Temari. Apparently very comfortable with it. She was wearing a dark blue short-sleeved blouse, and Kakashi thought he saw the Uchiha fan on her right upper arm, but he couldn't tell because she was sitting almost side on to him. Then there was Gaara in a crimson sleeveless shirt with a sand print to it, although Kakashi suspected it was actually sand. After all, what ninja would be without the primary weapon when they could hide it in plain sight? Then there was Kankuro, without his makeup or cat suit. His brown hair was all over the place, resembling Naruto's. And his dark yellow t-shirt looked as though it may have been hiding more of Gaara's sand. Taihei was next, wearing a black t-shirt with no design on the back, although there may have been one on the front, and finally Wahei was on the end of the table nearest him with his grayish-blue hair pointing straight up at the ceiling, wearing a t-shirt of the same color with what appeared to be the Uzumaki swirl printed in crimson on the back, but he wasn't sure. "Okay, Well, thanks for the drinks. I better go back and join Guy before he comes over and starts giving you the same treatment. I doubt you'd forgive me, said Kakashi, his visible eye forming a U shape to show he was smiling before turning and walking back to Guy. Over the next 2 hours, the two that drank the most were Naruto and Gaara, and to look at either you'd think they'd never had a drink in their lives. Both had drunk 4 bottles of sake each and still looked totally sober. Both had been up to the bar to order fresh rounds, and the barman had asked him to throw the bottle they had brought back at the target. Gaara had just thrown it, although he'd done it a little too fast for the barman to see. Naruto had decided to show off a little and turned around to talk to Hinata, who'd come over with him while throwing the bottle over his shoulder and somehow caused the bottle to not S and instead embed into the board with the mouth of the bottle encircling the bull's eye. Needless to say, the barman decided not to test them again till they hit 10 bottles each, or showed at least some signs of the alcohol affecting them. However, they were both back at the table sitting in their seats once again. It was at this point in time that Wahei decided to do something. Right, well, fun as it is with all of you, I like the look of that young lady over there and I think I'll go talk to her, he said, getting up to go. Hold on, Wahei, which of those two are you going to talk to? Asked Hinata. The black-haired one. Why? He asked. Kurenai-sensei is nice, be polite and kind to her, just make a point of showing no interest in Anko, she said. Why? He asked, curious as to why he would need to do that. Anko is a little weird to say the least. If she thinks she's got half a chance, she'll practically force herself onto you, and if you show any interest in her at all, the Kurenai-sensei won't want you. She's had problems in the past where a guy showed most of his interest in her after finding Anko strange, but before that he showed some interest in her and they always cheated on her, so now she goes out with Anko, and any guy that shows any interest in Anko beyond just being polite she won't give a chance, and I know you won't do that to her, so you deserve a chance, replied Hinata. Wahei nodded his thanks and then walked over to the two women and started talking to Kurenai. 2 hours later and Naruto was back at the bar. Kankuro had been really smart and challenged both Naruto and Gaara to a drinking campaign. Needless to say, he was losing badly. Naruto and Gaara had even upped the drinks from the 20% sake to 40% spirits, and now Naruto had just ordered 65% vodka. Whilst at the bar, he listened in on Wahei's conversation with Kurenai. So you know Hinata then, how is she? Asked Kurenai. Yeah, I know her, she's engaged to my cousin, she's fine, very happy with him and I'm happy for them, replied Wahei. Ya got star feel the musik ya no, hey, is there anything more to drink? Slurred Anko, who despite her intoxication could still hit the center of the bull's eye. Please buy her a drink and shut her up for at least 5 minutes, said Kurenai, an annoyed tone to her voice. Naruto decided to make his presence known at this point. Just put it on the tab, Wahei, as well as any more drinks you have tonight, he said. Oh. Okay, thanks, Naruto. How are things going at the table? He asked. Kankuro challenged me and Gaara to a drinking campaign. He's on his 4th bottle of sake and I've just ordered a bottle of vodka each for me and Gaara. We've already drunk 6 bottles of sake and 4 bottles of spirits each. And you're both still sober, never mind alive, how? Asked Kurenai. Naruto smiled. Kyuubi and Shukaku, while I don't have the damn furball in me anymore, I did keep the healing ability which extends to being immune to poison and being able to neutralize any kind of intoxicating substance. In order to get drunk, I think that me and Gaara would have to drink this place dry, so we're just drinking till Kankuro's drunk, then we'll slacken off Argon, he replied. Wahei laughed and Kurenai giggled. Whoo, dink da hole tandrai, now that's a pran, hey, Renai, how many pubs ya think we crawled get into? Asked Anko. Naruto chuckled quietly at Anko's drunken nickname for Kurenai. Nowhere else will let you in, Anko, replied Kurenai, shaking her head. When the barkeeper came back and handed Naruto the drinks, he walked back over to the table chuckling quietly. He sat down and handed the bottle of sake to Kankuro and then a bottle of vodka to Gaara. Kankuro, despite his state, did notice that Naruto and Gaara had different bottles to him. Hey, what you drinkin'? I got some vin different, slurred Kankuro. Yes you do, Kankuro, you've got something stronger than us, replied Naruto, smiling and giving Gaara a wink to tell him that he was in fact lying. Oh okay, hick, dartsal, hick, good. Come midnight, Kankuro couldn't stay awake, so once he was nicely out for the count, Naruto created two clones which picked up Kankuro and carried him back to the Uchiha compound. As they pulled him from the table, a trail of sand off his shirt and added itself to Gaara's. After the clones left, Gaara and Naruto both got sake cups to finish their vodka in rather than drinking the stuff straight from the bottle. The only other two to keep drinking had been Hinata and Temari, both sufficiently used to the talents of Jinchuriki for this major binge to not bother them. How exactly have you two managed to drink 4 times as much as everyone else on the table and not only live but look like you're still on your first drink of the night? Asked Atsuri, putting her glass down. Gaara looked down. He wasn't looking forward to her reaction when she found out he was a Jinchuriki. Well, for me it's something I kept from my time as Jinchuriki. Gaara still carries the Shukaku within him, so he has the same healing ability, explained Naruto. Oh. Okay then, that explains everything, said Atsuri. Her reaction caused Gaara's head to fly up. She wasn't bothered in the slightest. He allowed himself a small glimmer of hope that just maybe he had a chance with her after all. How old are you guys? Asked Temari. Well, I'm 16, Wahei is 21 and Atsuri is 12 feet, replied Taihei. By around 2 in the morning they had been getting up and moving around. Guy had gone home, so Kakashi had come over and joined them. Anko had passed out and Naruto had had a couple of clones take her home after getting Kurenai to get her keys from her pocket and give him directions, and then Kurenai and Wahei had joined them as well. At around 1 o'clock Iruka had come into the bar, had a couple of drinks with them and then left. Over the course of time, and some careful planning, Gaara and Atsuri had ended up sitting together, and now Atsuri was feeling a little tired, and was resting her head on Gaara's shoulder. So who's having what? Asked Naruto, getting up and looking at the group. I'll have a double whiskey, said Kakashi, raising his hand from the table a little. Make that 2 feet, said Gaara. I'll have a warm sake, said Kurenai. I'll have a vodka on the rocks, said Wahei. I'll have a single whiskey, said Taihei. I'll have the same as you, Naruto, said Hinata. We'll have a bottle of sake, said Sasuke. Naruto then looked at Atsuri, who hadn't ordered anything yet. Do you want anything, Atsuri? He asked. She lifted her head off of Gaara's shoulder just far enough to shake it before putting it back down on his shoulder again. Naruto went to the bar and ordered. The barman decided it was once again time to check him, and again Naruto decided to show off, throwing the bottle up and spinning, hitting it with a turning kick on the way down, once again lodging it into the board intact with the mouth covering the bull's eye. The barman quickly realized that it was unlikely he would ever find the boy tipsy in his life, never mind too drunk to hit the target. Naruto came back to the table a few minutes later and handed all the drinks out. Gaara sat his drink within easy arm's reach and started taking sips from it every 3 to 4 minutes. As he reached for it for the 4th time, a smaller hand from his right side beat him to it. He followed the hand as it moved to its owner's mouth and poured an amount of the strong liquid into it before returning the glass to the table. Did you enjoy that? He asked. Yes, and it was much nicer since it was yours, Gaara, replied the owner of the hand, Atsuri. So if you order a drink next time, it will be fine for me to have some without asking you then? He asked her. She tilted her head to look at his face. Of course, she replied, smiling warmly. Gaara couldn't help but smile back. By the time 3 o'clock came, Gaara and Atsuri were happily sharing every drink. One would order a drink twice the size of what they wanted, and then both would drink from the same glass. Atsuri seemed to be rather tipsy, possibly even drunk. Gaara, however, just like Naruto, didn't look like he'd had a drink all night. But despite that, over the course of the night, Atsuri had systematically broken down each and every emotional barrier Gaara had ever erected, one after another. Hinata wasn't drunk but was definitely merry. Kurenai had had more than she'd ever had before and was now very happily chatting away with Wahei, who could apparently handle his drink, as despite having shifted onto vodka was still having no problems talking, although he did look a little shaky on his feet whenever he got up. Taihei was particularly drunk, as was Kakashi, and after Kakashi remembered the jukebox in the corner, they proceeded to stand at it selecting songs and slurring out a drunken duet. Although the others had to admit they were quite good, Sasuke and Temari were the only ones other than Naruto and Gaara that were definably sober, having carefully paced themselves, more from having spent more time talking than drinking than through good management. As 4 o'clock rolled round, the group decided it would be a good idea if they headed home. Once everyone was finished, they got up and Naruto scooped Hinata up bridal style. Noticing this, Sasuke decided to do the same with Temari. Gaara was unsure, Something in him wanted to, but he was really nervous about it. That is until Utsuri whispered in his ear asking him to do so and then looking at him with eyes that he didn't know why. Gaara found it impossible to say no to, so just like Naruto and Sasuke he picked her up bridal style. Kurenai and Wahei had their arms around each other's waist as they walked towards the door and called over Taihei and Kakashi, who then stumbled along with their arms over each other's shoulders. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.